Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said this, then he would have recruited anyone and everyone. Rasulullah says, you are not allowed to join us in this battle. 2 years later, in the battle of Khandaq, Abdullah ibn Umar says, Rasulullah called me again, assessed me once more, and he says, now you have reached an age of maturity and you can join us in the battle. And he says, I was 16 years old at the time. He says he died, the historians write that he died in Makkah in the year 74 AH after Hijrah, 74 years after Hijrah. He was amongst the most trustworthy companions of the Messenger of Allah. He narrated 2,630 hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ. And the scholars would say when he would narrate hadith, his eyes would tear up. His eyes would tear up. And from amongst the men, he was the second to narrate the most. The first to narrate the most hadith was Abu Hurairah. The second to narrate the most hadith was Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu ta'ala an. He makes mention here, I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam saying, انطلق ثلاثة نفر ممن كان قبلكم حتى آواهم المبيت إلى غار فدخلوا. He says that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, three men amongst those who came before you. Rasulullah is telling the Sahaba, three men from amongst those who had come before you set out until night came and they reached a cave, so they entered it. They were traveling, night had come upon them, and in them days when it was night time, they needed to take shelter. There was no hotels, there was no tent with them. They would go into the cave. If they had seen a cave, they would go into the cave. Rasulullah is telling the Sahaba this, and he's saying three men. One of the lessons we need to learn from this is friendship. When a person is traveling, he travels with friends. They say when a person travels with somebody, you can learn a lot about them just by traveling with them. You can learn a lot about a person by traveling with a person. Okay? But when you are traveling with friends, importance of friendship, Ulamā of Hadith have made mention here. The importance of friendship. Who should I class as a friend? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam 1400 years ago was also asked a very similar question. O Messenger of Allah, who should I keep as a friend? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says, your friend is he, when you see him, he reminds you of Allah. Okay? When you see him, he reminds you of Allah. That is a friend. When you speak to him, your knowledge of Allah increases. Your knowledge of Allah increases. This is a friend. In this life, many friends will come and go. But you have two sets of friends. One set which will take you upon the right path. Sirat al-Mustaqim, the straight path. The second set will take you upon the path of destruction, and that path will lead you to the fire. And the Quran makes mention about this, that a person on the day of Qiyamah, he will scream out to Allah and he will say to Allah, Ya layt, if only, he will hold his hands upon his head. He will say, Afsos, lam attakhid fulalan khalila. If only I had not taken this individual as my friend. The Quran is saying this, that a person would say this on the day of Qiyamah. Oh Allah, if only I had not taken this person as my friend, لَقَدْ أَضَلَّنِي عَنِ السَّبِيلِ. He is the one who misguided me from the straight path. Them friends take you away from Allah. If you're spending time with someone and you miss your prayer due to you spending time with him, and he has no regards to prayer, nor do you have any regard to prayer, then this individual is no friend of yours. If a person is listening to music, and you're also listening to music, and you are disobeying Allah Azza wa Jal, then this is no friend of yours. If a person is taking you to go and see a woman, a girl, or inviting you towards that which Allah forbids, then this is no friend of yours. That individual will only take you towards the path of destruction and the path of hell. So it's very important who is friends. It took me personally, if you ask me, it took me more than 15 years, 20 years to understand what does the word friend mean. Then I realized that there is no one in my contacts as a friend. No one. Because those who I classed as friends were misguiding me. Those who I spent time with were misguiding me. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling you, when you see him, he reminds you of Allah. When you speak to him, your knowledge of Allah increases. This is who you should take as a friend. The word friend is a very special name. Very special. That's why Allah called Ibrahim his friend. Didn't he? Ibrahim Khalilullah, the Khalil of Allah, the friend of Allah Azza wa Jalla. It is better for you not to have any friends than to have friends that will take you towards the path of Shaitan, the path of Jahannam. It is better to be alone. Better to be alone. I can promise you this. Than to be amongst those who will influence you and take you towards. And you guys, subhanallah, the elders will tell you, and I can say the same thing. We've been there and kind of done that, where you feel as if you know more than your own parents or your elders. You think you know more. When your parents tell you, don't hang around with this person, or don't spend time with this individual, this person is not right for you. They know more than you. It isn't the case where they don't want you to enjoy yourself. They know that this companionship can affect my child. The 5 minutes can ruin my child. 10 minutes can ruin my child. One thing leads to another. Our egos are weak and our nafs is weak. One thing can lead to another. The shaitan does not connect with you unless he has a long-term plan. He has a long-term plan for you. That's what shaitan wants. He doesn't just want you, he doesn't want to just affect you for one day. He wants to affect you for the entire 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. You ask them people who have been misguided. And you ask them, where is your friend? Very important. Very, very important. The pious, they say friendship is like entering into a perfume shop. When you enter a perfume shop and you come out, you smell nice. Good companionship, the effect of that has an effect on you. When you enter your home and your parents are cooking, your mother is cooking, doesn't your clothes smell of curry? So bad companionship has a bad effect on you. But by the way, every one of you will have to stand in front of Allah alone. Your friends will not be there. Your friends will not be there. Every one of you will have to stand up in front of Allah alone. Every one of you will have to do your own account. So it's very important. Sometimes it's difficult because you're so close. But the reality is, who is my true friend? Hasan al-Basri rahimahullah, the great scholar of the past, one day he was sitting on the minbar and he said, my friends, he's talking to them during the khutbah, and he says, and he narrates a story which will take place in Jannah, wherein, just like we have gathered now, there will be people gathering in paradise, and they will talk and enjoy. Then randomly they will think about their friends in the earth. They would say, where is such and such a person? Where is such and such a person? Yeah? We used to hang around with him in the world. We used to spend time with him in the world. We used to walk around Stockport Road with him in the world. We used to walk around Winslow Road with him in the world. We used to spend time. Allah Azza wa Jal will then Allah Azza wa Jal, Muhammad, go find out what's going on. Allah Azza wa Jal will then show them. They will look down, they will see their friend in the bottom of the fire of Jahannam. But because they remembered him, Allah will show mercy, Allah will take that person out and put him with them. So Hasan al-Basri says, oh my friends, if you don't see me in paradise, please remember me. If you guys are gathered in paradise enjoying yourself, please remember me. Maybe I'm in hell, maybe I'm in Jahannam. And if you remember me, then maybe Allah will show mercy and He will take me out and keep me with you guys. So friendship, this is the first thing. 3 of them. Rasulullah says 3 men from someone before you, time before you, they were traveling. Night came, they entered into a cave, and what happened after? Soon as they entered, 3 men amongst those who came before you set out until night came. And they reached a cave, so they entered it. فانحدرت صخرة من الجبل فصدت عليهم الغار. A rock, boulder, fell down from the mountain and blocked the entrance of the cave. You're in this cave. This humongous boulder has coming from the mountain, is come and now blocked the entrance. You're unable to leave, you're unable to come out. What did these 3 do? Did they start panicking? What did they do? This is what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said. فقالوا إنه لا ينجيكم من هذه الصخرة إلا أن تدعوا الله تعالى بصالح أعمالكم. Thereupon, one of them said, or they said, nothing will save you from this unless you supplicate to Allah by virtue. Nothing is going to save us unless we make dua to Allah. What does this show? At times of difficulty, we need to resort in dua. My children might not be listening to me. My children might be going astray. I need to make dua to Allah. Things are not happening for me. I need to make dua to Allah. I am searching to get married and nothing is happening. I need to make dua to Allah. At the most difficult time in your life, and also at happiness, always continuously make dua to Allah. These 3, wherein it was impossible for them to exit from this cave, 3 of them. It was impossible for them to exit from this cave. What happens? They say to one another, nothing will save us unless we make dua to Allah. Nothing will save us. Dua is very important, my brothers. Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. When my servant asks me, indeed I am close to him. When my servant asks me, indeed I am close to him. I listen to his call. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, Ad-du'a mukhul ibadah. Dua is the essence of your worship. When we are worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal, we need to make dua. After we finish our worship, we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to accept this dua, this ibadah that we have just done. The Messenger of Allah told us to do this. Allah Azza wa Jal says in a different verse of the Quran, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمُ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. And your Lord says, call upon me and I will answer to you. Call upon me and I will answer to you. So our belief has to be firm that when we make dua to Allah, Allah will answer our call. Hasan al-Basri says Allah Azza wa Jal answers a person's call 3 different ways. 3 ways wherein Allah will answer your call when we make dua. Number 1, when you're making dua, whatever you have asked for, Allah will answer it straight away and give you the response straight away, or give you what you have asked for. And in our opinion, this individual or this category or this group is only for the pious people, or those who have reached a level of closeness to Allah. When they raise their hands, Allah answers their dua straight away. Like mustajab al-da'awat, their du'as are answered. The likes of Uwais al-Qarni. At the time of Rasulullah, he was known as mustajab al-da'awat, that when he would make dua, Allah will answer his dua straight away, to such an effect that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Umar ibn al-Khattab, when you find Uwais, ask him to make dua for you, because his du'as are answered. The heavens open up to listen to his du'as. Mustajab da. Number one, so when you make dua, the first way that dua can be answered is Allah answering your dua straight away. Second category is when you make dua, Allah doesn't answer what you want, rather He prevents something damaging or harmful happening to you. So you ask for something, Allah says, well, we will not give you this. We will not give you this, but we will save you from dying without iman. We will save you from cancer. We will save you from all these things. We will save you from dying in poverty. So this is the second category. He will not answer what you want, but He will save you from something else. The third category, and which is the best, He will not give you or answer your dua now. On the day of Qiyamah, He will remind you. And He will say, remember, you asked me for this in the world. This is what you will get here. This is what you will. That person will then say, oh Allah, you should have not answered any of my dua. You should have saved everything for today. You should have saved everything. None of my du'as in the world you should have never answered. You should have saved something. And Allah works in His intimate way. So one of the lessons we learn from here is the importance of dua. And that we should often, at the time of difficult time, imagine you three are in a cave, there is no way that you will, there is no reception, there is no internet, there is no way. You're going to starve yourself and you're going to die in there. What do they turn? They say, we will not be saved until we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the first one stands. And this was one of the unique things. Subhanallah. Ulamā of Hadith, they say, none of the three knew each other's a'mal, the actions. We three were traveling, and then you made dua about something which you did, but I did not know that you have done that. And then the second person made dua, and the two didn't know that their friend had done this action. Then the third person made dua, and the two did not know that this, wow, we are friends for this long and I didn't even know you did this, subhanallah. So none of the three knew each other's a'mal. This was hidden, private. Nobody knew, and this is why Imam Nawawi brings this hadith under this chapter, because it was out of sincerity. That's why he's brought this hadith under this chapter. What does the first one say? قال رجل منهم اللهم كان لي أبوان شيخان كبيران. Oh Allah, raises their hands. They say, oh Allah, I had two parents who were old. I had two parents, mother and father, who were old. وكنت لا أقبق قبلهما أهلا ولا مالا فدعا به طلب الشجر يوما فلم أروح عليهما حتى ناما فحبلت لهما غبوقهما فوجدتهما نائمين فكرهت أن أوقظهما وأن أقبض قبلهما أهلا أو مالا. What does he say? He says, oh Allah, I had parents who were old, and I used to offer them milk before my children and my slaves. Meaning, he had a herd of goats. He was a farmer, he had a herd of goats. He would then go out every day, he would take the milk from them. The first person who he would offer it to is his parents. Not his children, not his wife, not his slaves or anything which he possessed. So he says, one day I went far away in search of trees for grazing, and I could not come back until they had slept. So I went there on a job. I went to graze, I'll get some trees for grazing. I came back, I had the milk. This was his habit every single day, that he will take milk home. And especially our elders would understand that when they used to farm back in the days, they would bring the milk and they would come home with it. It was the habit of the elders. Anything that they would bring home, the first person, our elder generation, our fathers, the grandfathers, the first people they would offer it to is their parents. The first people they would offer it to is their parents. So, I came back and I found them asleep. When I milked as usual and brought the drink, I found them both asleep. I hated to disturb them. I didn't want to wake them up. And I also disliked to give it to my children and wife before them. So now he's battling with two things. Do I wake them up? Do I give it to my children? Do I give it to my wife? What does Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say about this man? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, فَبَلَبِثُ وَالْقَدَهُ عَلَى يَدِهِ أَنْتَظِرُ إِسْتِيقَاظَهُمَا حَتَّى بَرَقَ الْفَجْرِ وَالصِّبْيَةُ يَتَضَاغَوْنَ عِنْدَ قَدَمَيْهِ فَاسْتَيْقَظَ فَشَرِبَ غَبُوقَهُمَا. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, this man is making dua and he's narrating, and the other two of his friends are amazed. Wow, we never heard this before. We never knew this about you. So he says, I hated to disturb them, and I also disliked to give them milk before my children. To give them milk to my children before them. My children were crying out of hunger at my feet, but I waited with the bowl in my hand for them to wake up. So his children were there crying at his feet. Baba, Baba, give us some milk or whatever you have in. But he says, my heart didn't allow me. So I let them cry and I was just holding the milk like this. How long did he hold for? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, he waited the whole night until Fajr came. Whole night. Can you imagine? When your parents send you to do something and you get annoyed because you went there, they didn't open the door, something like this happened, or you came home and they wanted you to do something and you get so annoyed. This individual was so special that he came before the time of the Messenger of Allah, yet Rasulullah is acknowledging the a'mal which he had done and now mentioning to the greatest of creation about his story. After the Anbiya alayhi salam, the Sahaba, he's telling the Sahaba, and today after 1400 years we are also remembering the action which he had done. The entire night, his children were crying at his feet, hunger. And now, he says, I didn't allow it. I stayed there the whole night. When they woke up at dawn for Fajr, they drank from the bowl. Then what does he say? But before we say this, it's important to understand, guys, very important, very, very important. And I know one day you guys, when you be parents, you will remember this moment. You will remember our ustaz used to say this. Okay? It's very important to understand the platform of the parents. Okay? Allah commands us, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ. Allah commands you that you worship none but He, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, and that you be dutiful, kind towards your parents. إِمَّا يَبْلُغَنَّ عِنْدَكَ الْكِبَرَ أَحَدُهُمْ أَوْ كِلَاهُمَا فَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا. If one of them or both of them turn old, do not say uff to them. Imam Baghawi makes mention in his tafsir. If Allah Azza wa Jal found any other word other than uff, He would have mentioned. You're not even allowed to show any form of irritation to them. You're not allowed to say uff to them. You're not allowed to say to them. You're not allowed to make any form of irritation towards them. Allah commands you very clearly. He commands you after commanding you to worship Him alone. Okay? So then He brings وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ إِحْسَانًا حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهْنًا عَلَى وَهْنٍ. In a different ayah, Allah talks about He commands us to be dutiful to the parents. Your mother had bore you, or she carried you pain upon pain. For 9 months, she carried you. Okay? And then imagine you're holding a bowl, or you're holding a glass. After 15 minutes, your arm will start to stray. So here, your mother had carried you for 9 months or more. and you're growing. You're growing. And those who are married will be able to tell after a few months, your mother was unable to eat. Everything she eats is now coming out, vomiting. Sleepless nights because you're twisting and turning inside the stomach. Okay? Then you're kicking. So it's continuous. Now, after you are born, the pain doesn't stop there. That now I've just given birth, now it doesn't just stop there. Those who have recently had their child, they would understand. The mothers sleep half an hour, 45 minutes. Then sleep for 15, 20 minutes. Then you're crying again because you're hungry again. Then she has to breastfeed you. This goes on for about 2 years. Cleaning you. Then you're urinating over her. Then you're excreting all over her. Cleaning you, bathing you. And as you grow, then there comes a time when the child doesn't want to eat. But your parents then force that food in you. If they felt as if, okay, you don't want to eat, don't eat. You would not be the strong man that you are today. I've seen it in my own child. Sometimes you have to forcefully feed him because he doesn't know. You have to forcefully feed them. They don't want to eat. And one of the hardest things is putting them to sleep. And then cleaning their nappies. And then, that's why the rank of a parent is so high. You understand? And then from amongst the two is the mother because she bore you the most. The father will not be able to tolerate. He will slap you if you annoy him after half an hour. It's very simple, it's very straight. Yet the mother can tolerate. Hours upon hours upon hours upon hours. Try it. Annoy your father for half an hour, he'll tell you what he's going to do. And then do the same to your mother. So Allah uniquely had created this in His own wisdom. And then the misfortunate is he who did not understand about his parents and now his parents have left this one. So Allah commands us. And here, this individual is standing the whole night and he's making dua to Allah. Now what does he say? He says, Allahumma in kuntu fa'altu dhalika ibtigha'a wajhik ففرج عنا ما نحن فيه من هذه الصخرة فانفرجت شيئا لا يستطيعون الخروج منه. He says, Oh Allah, if I did so, this action of mine to seek your pleasure, then deliver us from this distress caused by this rock. And the rock miraculously moved slightly, but it was not enough for them to exit from the cave. So he says, Oh Allah, this action which I did it all for you. If I didn't do it for you, then keep me here. If I did it for you, then move this rock. Then the rock started to move, but it was unable for them to exit from this cave which they were in. You guys understand? That's just one of them. There's another two of them. There's three of them in the cave. One of them, they all decide we need to make dua. Okay? So one of them stands up. And he did this. So imagine, miracles happen. Miracles didn't just happen with prophets. Ulamā believe that Allah Azza wa Jal, for pious people, will show His karamah. He'll show His karamat of His miracle in unusual cases. For example, somebody's child is passing away. The doctors have said, there's no time. A big pious person has come and he's made dua and then all of a sudden everything is well. So Allah shows His miracles through those who are close to Allah. Some of the lessons we need to learn. We mentioned a few lessons. One of the lessons is, it is permissible, understand this, it is permissible to pray to Allah Azza wa Jal through our virtue. Oh Allah, privately, you tell Allah, Oh Allah, I had spent in your way and I did it only for you. Save me from this, help me in this. So the scholars have said that you are allowed to present your deeds to Allah so long as it's sincere, and as a means of virtue, you can present it to Allah. Okay? But you are not allowed to use anyone as a medium. You cannot say, "Oh Allah, forgive me for the sake of this firsa." You're not allowed to say, "Forgive me for the sake of this Darga Sharif, or this grave, or this." No. You're allowed to present your virtue which you have done, sincere, but you're not allowed to use anything as a medium. For this will be forbidden, and it is a class as an innovation of the deen for two reasons. The first reason is there is no proof from Quran and Sunnah for this. Okay? The second reason is the Sahaba, and the first generation, the second generation, or the third generation, the Tabi'in and the Tabi'at Tabi'in, none of them had ever used this way to make dua. "Oh Allah, forgive me for the sake of this Allama Sahab, or this Fir Shah, or something like this." So these are the things that we need to. When we make dua directly to Allah, but it is permissible to present your deeds which you have done. "Oh Allah, I prayed my tahajjud namaz for your sake. Answer my call." Do you understand? There's a way to ask Allah. "Oh Allah, if you don't answer, no one will answer me. If you don't help, no one will help me. Oh Allah, if you don't aid me, there is no one on the face of this earth to aid me. You are my creator, I am your servant, I am asking you as your servant, don't reject me." Ways to ask Allah. You understand? You have to talk to Him. You have to talk to Him. Okay guys? The other virtue is preference to the service of the parents before the service towards your wife and children. You have to give preference to your parents first. Like this brother here did. He gave preference to his parents before his children. Children are crying at his feet. His wife is probably napping or yapping at him. Preference to the parents. Okay guys? Allah has power over everything, and He will help His pious servants even in unusual cases. Someone might say, "Well, this is one of them fairy stories or fairy tales or something like this." This is not fairy. This is an authentic hadith. And this is what the Messenger of Allah ﷺ has said. So we believe in Allah's decree that He has power over everything. Whatever anybody says, He has the full power. If we make dua to Him, He can change whatever He likes, whichever. So we're going to stop here guys, because we want to study hadith. I don't want to read the hadith to you. I want you guys to study it. This is why it's called Darse hadith. Darse. Lesson from the hadith. Okay? So we've divided the hadith into 4 parts. We've covered 2 parts. The first part was about friendship, 3 friends going in the cave. The second part was about one of the individual, the relation with his parents that he had. And then we will continue. Subhanallah wa bihamdih, subhanakallah wa bihamdih, subhanallah ila ila anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. My students, please put your awaaz away.